Welcome to the Friday Casebook. Hi, Roger.
Hi, Lena. Great to see you. Great to see our audience.
We have a lot to talk about. I guess let's start immediately with the States and take a closer look at the latest events there.
It's been hard to believe what we've been witnessing, and I watched the debate in Congress last night, the impeachment vote. Very difficult to know how to say anything funny about what's going on because it's so serious. But we need the help of people like Sacha Baron Cohen. He would know what to say, I think. If only it were true that the real Donald Trump was secretly Sacha Baron Cohen in disguise. But he seems to be as bad as he looks. In Donald Trump's statement that he made after the impeachment vote last night, he looked to me like a kind of abusive husband who's beaten up his wife at home on a regular basis and then comes and makes speeches about the institution of marriage and gets watery-eyed remembering his wedding day. He doesn't seem to have any sense at all about what it is that he's done wrong. It's a sad and sorry day for America. It's difficult to know how you can make satire, how you can make something a little bit funny out of that. We mentioned Borat. There have been some nice photos going around of Nancy Pelosi back in her office. I'll show you this one, which I think is quite nice, with the shaman up on the wall as a trophy. But she was terrified, and all of the members of Congress were terrified. They feel that they were lucky to get away with their lives, and many of them were. So we could have a look at some of the world reaction. Of course, Donald Trump went straight down to put his signature on the wall in Texas, just to distract attention from Washington. But I've heard that the Mexicans have been, the Mexican government has said that it will pay for the wall after all, after what happened in Washington. And Canada wants one too. And I know why. I know why Kim Jong is happy this week. He's no longer the crazy one, the craziest leader in the world, not for the next few days in any case. And Afghanistan is planning to send troops to Washington to help them to restore democracy there. So from being the sort of icon of the Palace of Democracy, they've become a kind of, a normalization of America. It's no greater or worse than anybody else. It's a huge come down in the eyes of the world for America. It'll take a long time to recover. I don't think you should underestimate the violent intent of that mob and all of the people who whipped them up. I mean, we've talked about Steve Bannon before, who was ran the Trump campaign in 2016 and who's been spending a lot of time in Europe recently, getting alongside right-wing extremist populist leaders in Europe like Orban and Matteo Salvini and Nigel Farage. Bannon's been in trouble because he set up a fundraiser for Trump's wall last year and raised $25 million and is accused of embezzlement of some of those funds. So he's on bail at the moment, awaiting trial on that. But again, it's all mixed up with these sort of theories of conspiracy theories and anti-vaccine theories. And this is what Bannon was saying about Fauci, the chief scientific advisor in America. This is what he was saying Trump should do if Trump had won the election and won a second term. He says the second term kicks off with firing Wray, firing Fauci. No, I actually want to go a step farther. Bannon says the president is a kind-hearted man, a good man. I'd actually like to go back to the old times of Tudor England. I put their heads on pikes. I put them at the two corners of the White House as a warning to federal bureaucrats. You either get with the program or you're gone. That's the mindset. You know, that is the guru of the movement that we turned into a mob and invaded the Capitol Hill last week. And he's very, very dangerous. Trump was able to build up a huge following on Twitter and Facebook and on social media.
Not anymore.
Well, that's true. But as Thierry Breton, the commissioner, the EU commissioner, and also Vera Jourova, another EU commissioner, said, it's good that Twitter have, on one hand, that Twitter have switched off its account, but on the other hand, should the chief executive of Twitter have that amount of power, and the chief executive of Facebook have that amount of power, just to switch off the voice, close down the voice of the President of the United States? So I think we've got a lot of things to think about.
Twitter itself, I think, looks at this in a critical way, and I think we need to have a debate about this.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And I think we need to hear the voice of citizens in this, and we need to have a more democratic way of protecting the public space. I think Breton has put it well. He said what is illegal offline should be illegal online, but you don't want to make the heads of corporations be the judge and jury in deciding which side of the line these things are on. So we need to have a public discussion about what the limits of free speech are. Absolutely, we do. Meanwhile, Trump will be trying to get back onto some kind of social media platforms, I expect, in disguise. And I don't think he'll be off there for long. And of course, there's a White House platform as well, which he's still being on.
Let's now take a closer look at Europe. There's a lot happening in Italy right now.
There's a lot happening in Italy. There's a prospect that the government might fall because a former prime minister of Italy, who has his own small party now called Matteo Renzi, who was part of the coalition, has pulled out of the coalition. Nobody could quite understand why he's done that. He's putting the government in jeopardy at a time when the right-wing populist forces in Italy, Salvini, and also that's Berlusconi now again, nobody thought he would be back again, and Giorgia Meloni from the so-called Brothers of Italy, which is basically an undisguised fascist party in Italy. They potentially have a majority of 50% if there was an election tomorrow. So that's very, very worrying. Meanwhile, the police and the authorities in Italy, people often say that nothing works properly in Italy. It's not true. Parts of Italy work extremely well. The Interior Ministry and the judges in the anti-mafia pool done an amazing job. And there's a huge trial about to start of 395 people who've been arrested from the mafia and Drangheta from Calabria. And one of the remarkable stories about how they found that was that they discovered that there was a fake pizza oven in a house in the hills in Calabria, which led to a huge network of underground tunnels and rooms and so on, and a hideaway. They are coming out of the oven. But of course, the thing about this picture is it shows that the wood burning pizza oven is on, but the reason they discovered that this was just a front for a labyrinth of tunnels and hideaways was that it had never been used, that there was no ash in the fireplace at all. And that's what first aroused the suspicion of the police, and they climbed inside the oven and they discovered a secret door that led to there's the oven, and there's the policeman saying hidden inside this oven. Some of the key people who are going to be on trial now were
incredible. Yeah, and kind of a cliche though with a pizza oven.
That's right. The mafia margarita trial. Yeah, it would be known as the margarita trial, I think. Yeah.
What else caught your eye in Europe?
Well, we've got a new occupant of the naughty step this week, which is the former Prime Minister of Estonia, Jüri Ratas, who's resigned as Estonian Prime Minister, even though he says he hasn't done anything wrong. So what has happened? Why has Jüri Ratas resigned in Estonia? And the reason is that his party, the Centre Party in Estonia, is caught up in a apparent bribery scandal to do with the port authority in Tallinn. and a multi-million-pound development there, which received government loans. And the mayor of Tallinn gave permission for the development to go ahead, and he's a part of the party as well. So while the investigation is ongoing, Jüri Ratas has decided to stand down as Prime Minister. But again, it just points to how important it is that we are constantly vigilant as citizens, the citizens of Tallinn. Don't let people in power just behave the way that they want to and take decisions without constantly being aware of what they're doing and exposing it to scrutiny and so on. I'm not quite sure how this has come out, but if it is as a result of citizen involvement and scrutinizing what public officials are doing, then that's a good thing. It's very difficult today to trust the people in power, to trust our elected politicians to act in the public interest. I hope that Jüri Ratas will be exonerated, but there's no smoke without fire. So there's obviously something untoward happened there.
If we're looking now ahead, what's coming up in the upcoming weeks?
So we've got our Quo Vadis series will be starting again at the end of January, where we will look at not just Belarus and Ukraine, but also what's happening in Poland. And then the Tuesday conversations start again in February, on the 9th of February, with Paul Henningsen. And with series 3, we're going to look at various sort of more down-to-earth topics, like how are people keeping healthy, how are people keeping sane in this COVID time. We may even look at topics like food from different points of view in Europe. May even ask the question, why is it that only Europeans like sausages? Is that true? Do Europeans like sausages? Are they?
Really?
Is that what makes us European? So tune in to the Tuesday conversation when it starts again on the 9th of February.
Wonderful. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you very much for these insights, and see you next week, Roger.
See you next week. Thanks a lot.